Today we're going to cover the Swamp Fox Kraken, which is basically the Aimpoint Acro we have at home. Now for full disclosure, we got this optic for free. My good friend who works at a major gun manufacturing company went to SHOT Show in 2024, and at the last day of the show, the Swamp Fox guys at the Swamp Fox booth gave my buddy and some of his other coworkers all of their optics that they did not want to take back with them. So he gave me this Kraken to review and make a video on. So we have no obligation to Swamp Fox to make a video, but we thought we would share our experiences with you guys. And so far, I really like this optic. As you can see, it's like a direct competitor to the Aimpoint Acro in this like realm of hardcore duty use pistol red dot. It's enclosed, fully enclosed, both front and rear, and it's made for like duty use, wearing on an outside the waistband holster and stuff like that. So I've had this dot on my pistol since like February of 2024. It's now January 2025. So I have a lot of rounds through this optic on this Glock 47, and I really like it. But overall, this is a pretty solid optic, coming in not so much as a budget price offering, but you know, a step down from the actual Aimpoint Acro, which can run, you know, good amount of money. So this particular optic, the Swamp Fox Kraken, has its own proprietary footprint. So there's no other mounts or plates that will work with this Kraken besides just the Kraken itself. But when you get the box from Swamp Fox, they have two plates, one cut for an RMR, so you screw it down to your RMR slide cut, and then you mount the Kraken on top of it. Or like I have right here, they include a MOS plate so that you can attach it to any MOS Glock and then attach the Kraken on top. So there's no compatibility with other red dots, but I don't think that's too big of an issue. Let's get into the pros and cons. So the pros, this thing is very tough. Like I said, I've have a ton of rounds through it. I've dropped it. It's, you know, been thrown around in the back of my truck going to and from the range. You know, just everyday wear and tear, not abuse, but just a lot of use, I would say. Next up would be the enclosed emitter. I really like enclosed emitter sights. I have a few Hollow Sun sights that are not enclosed. It's like a 507, and I get a lot of dirt, lint, debris on the rear window of my optic, and I have to get a Q-tip and clean it out. So I like the enclosed emitters like this. You can just take your shirt, jacket, and just wipe it off like that, no problem. And it's as good as new. So I really like enclosed emitters, which this is. Next, the dot is super bright. So if you're out on a sunny day at the range, like mid-afternoon, you can really crank that dot up bright where, you know, you're not searching for the dot in the window. And even if you're training in like low light situations where you're using your flashlight, when you turn that flashlight on, your dot's not going to disappear if you have it turned up bright enough once you engage that flashlight. So I really like a bright dot, which this one has. And also I like the controls. These controls are very clicky. Hopefully my mic is picking those up. But you know when you're adjusting this dot. There's no guessing, am I turning the brightness up, am I turning the brightness down? You can hear and feel each click, which I really like that also. Now let's cover some cons of this optic. So the first one would be the weight. Now this is not by any means a heavy optic, but you can definitely feel all this mass up here on this slide once you're shooting, and that slide is reciprocating. So this thing comes in at 2.4 ounces without a battery, and as comparison, the Trijicon RMR comes in at 1.2 ounces. So it's double the weight of an RMR. And again, it's not like it's heavy and it's, you know, I'm fatigued holding it. But when you're shooting it and that slide, you're shooting fast and that slide's traveling back and forth, you can feel that extra mass and weight here at the very end of the slide, where at the very, you know, furthermost point of the recoil cycle, this slide, that's a lot of mass moving back there. Now, like I said, it's not that big of a deal. You can just feel it. You know, if you have proper grip technique and all that, it's not gonna be that big of a deal, but you can feel it. And it's something I notice. Like when I go back to my Hollow Sun 507, it feels like, you know, there's nothing on top of it. It's just my personal opinion, but something I don't like. Next up would be the limited field of view. So when you present out with this optic, there's a lot going on up here. You have not just the window you're looking through, but you have a good amount of what I say material surrounding the optic all the way around, and you have this battery cap. So when you present out as compared to like a RMR or like a Holosun EPS pistol sight, there's a lot more, just I say, mass in your field of view as compared to those other sights with those thin borders and much better field of view. Now again, like all my pros so far, it's not that big of a deal. It's just something to keep in mind if you've been shooting an RMR for a long time or a sight like that. This thing takes up more of your view when presenting out. And another con that I've noticed more recently is I've got a little bit of dust or debris inside of the optic that I cannot get rid of. So like I said, this is an enclosed optic, so you can't, get in there and clean anything. But after shooting a fair amount of rounds, several thousand at this point probably, there is some dust and dirt on the inside of the lens that I can't clean just by wiping off the exterior lenses. So I don't know exactly where that came from, if it was inside the optic and just shooting it round after round has got it all stirred up. I don't know, but something to keep in mind. Now, it does not impede my vision in any point, and when I present out, it's hardly noticeable unless I look for the little specks of debris. But it's just something to keep in mind. I've seen people had this problem with the Aimpoint Acro also, but I have not noticed this until just recently on mine. Pretty early on in the process of me testing this optic, I did have an issue with the first Kraken that I had. This is actually the second one. So after just shooting at the range, I was looking through the optic and I was trying to see how easy it was to pick up the dot in like various angles of holding the pistol, like slightly canted like you're shooting one-handed. So I held the pistol directly sideways, like all good action films, sometimes they do. And I pulled the trigger and shot around and my dot went completely out. So like I said, that was the optic that my good friend brought back from SHOT Show. Could have been a demo, it could have been, tested, the people messing with it all day. I don't know exactly what the deal was, but it went out when I held it sideways and shot one shot. The dot went completely dead, changed the battery, nothing fixed it. So I went through the Swamp Fox warranty process and it was pretty smooth, pretty easy. They sent me a brand new Kraken to my house. I sent them the old one and they sent me a new one. So the warranty process was smooth, painless, and I have had no issues with this one. So the first one may have been, a demo or something that may have had, a lot of use or whatnot, but I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if it was or was not, but I do know that this one has held up just fine, and I've shot it at all various angles to see if I could recreate the problem, and I have not been able to. So just keep in mind, I did have an issue with the first one, but I have had no issues with the second one, and I will continue to run this dot. I could change this out and put another one on here, but I've chosen to keep this dot on this pistol because I really like it. At the end of the day, it's pretty solid. So all in all, I'm a big fan of this dot, especially at the price point that it comes in at. And if you get one on sale, it's a really good deal, I would say. So all in all, I like this dot. It's got a few cons, like I mentioned earlier, but to me, there's no perfect red dot. So I think this would be a good option if you're looking for a duty use, fully enclosed pistol dot, but you don't want to spend that Aimpoint Acro price. So hope you guys enjoyed this gear review. Check out our playlist where we have reviewed many other pieces of gear, optics, slings, all kind of good stuff. So go check that out. Drop us a like and subscribe if you will. We'll see you next time.